In this video, we're going over a day trade recap from Dr. Metals. Dr. Metals is one of the best zero DTE traders in the world, and he has a course out called the Statistical Day Trading Course. If you want to learn from him, we encourage you to take a look at that course or join the Dorian Trader, and you can learn firsthand from him and others at the Dorian Trader. Google up,
Hey, Brian, Doc
Microsoft
here.
up. Hey, Doc, good to hear your voice. It's been a second there since we got
Yeah,
an
I kind of
update
was
from you.
doing a little traveling on the road a little bit last week. A
Hmm.
couple days didn't wind up trading as a result and whatnot. Did do a zero DTE today. I'm definitely not doing
Hmm.
a one on Wednesday. Probably we'll see how things how the market's looking tomorrow. But
Hmm.
not too bad today. I got in about 11 o'clock or a little after 11. And like,
Hmm.
as soon as I put it on, like the market started to kind of march up, after
Hmm.
not doing a whole lot. And honestly, things it probably was good, even though only, moved up 5 points with the strike or whatever. But I think that initial strike there might have gotten stopped out. That the one that's like minus 100, minus 100 and that 150,
60,
that
160 here.
53.75.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that 53.75. Yeah, that would have gotten in a little bit of trouble and whatnot. So I just took a little loss on that.
Hmm.
And what I wound up doing to essentially pay for that, I actually, instead of moving my original strikes, which are the 53.15, I just added
Hmm.
on a few more at the 53.20 to kind of, pay for that, as it were. And
Hmm.
then hopefully, the the 53.80 and the original 53.15 should wind up working out. Excuse me for 1 second.
Okay. So what Dr. Meadows is talking about is what he discusses in his statistical day trading course that you can get from the Dorian School there. And he's talking about a cash neutral adjustment. And what happens is it's more like a proactive adjustment. He's seeing that the market is potentially going against him in a certain direction, and that he can make an adjustment now that is basically neutral, right? For it's either a small credit or a very small debit, or just neutral, right, in that range. And that allows him to be able to stay in the trade without getting stopped out, and most likely be able to re- recover and win. And that's the case here. I'm going to let him talk if he when he comes back on. But this is kind of a testament to his course that he created, because you guys have heard me say that Dr. Meadows did this course for us over 2 years ago, and he hasn't had to update one part of it at all. That's how robust that course has been. And so for me, I tell people, if you're going to do this zero DT trading, if you're going to trade it the way we teach, it's no way you shouldn't learn from that course first, because he's just awesome at it, and what he teaches is how he does his adjusting and everything. So you back,
Yeah,
Dr. Meadows?
I was just commenting. It looks like maybe Jack got. I was looking at, Jack's one of the other people that have taken the
Uh-huh.
course, and he
Uh-huh.
posts in the Discord. Looks like he might
Uh-huh.
have got stopped out on the call side today, because we did have a
Yeah.
kind of a rapid run up. And it's just the thing, like, making the judgment on when to go ahead and like roll the strike up and do this neutral kind of thing or not.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
certainly, kind of a general rule of thumb. I'm trying to put these on as best I can when I can at least have a lot more time to watch the trade for the initial 15, 20 minutes or so. And
Hmm.
I mean, if the market remains kind of calm and you might be down, you know, 5, 10 cents on the trade or something very minor, because
Hmm.
with very minor market moves. But to me, it's like if you put it on and you just kind of happen to catch the market starting to go, in one direction or whatever, more than likely I'm gonna go ahead and make that adjustment. You know what I mean? If I
Hmm.
haven't gotten even a little bit of theta burn or a little bit of calmness,
Hmm.
so that's kind of a decision point there.
Okay, so here's a question for you, Dr. Meadows. So this is something that you talk about as well, but what made you decide to not roll up these short puts to 53.15 to the 53.20,
Right,
and
right,
what made you decide
yeah,
that not to
yeah,
do
because a
that?
lot of yeah, because a lot of times, like you said, I will actually go ahead and roll that original position up. And
Hmm.
honestly, the amount of difference in the premium and all that kind of stuff wasn't that much. So like by the time I like sell those 8 and reopen another 8 or whatever, like it was only
Hmm.
like a 10 cent difference. It wasn't very much difference between the strikes. I was like, well, this might make sense to just put on some new positions, as opposed to rolling those. A lot of
I,
times it seems like there was more difference between in price between the strikes. So that was kind of my
Yeah, I
thing.
figured that was
Yeah.
the case. I figured that was the
Hmm.
case. It was only a 5 point difference, as you guys can see here. Let me show you here. It's only a 5 point difference, and it just wasn't enough premium that came out of the 5315 to make that roll up from the 5315 to the 5320. It was better off just adding excuse me, just adding more contracts to the 5320 and letting more decay happen with the
Right.
5315 as well. So
Right. And
and
that's
that's
often right. And that's often the benefit of if you at least get some degree of theta decay on one side or the other,
mhm,
you might be in a situation where, there's been plenty of times, particularly on the call side, where like, you might get 50% decay on the put side. And if the call side is going up slow enough,
mhm,
you might not get very little decay at all on the call side, but you've had enough decay at least where rolling that strike up, you know, either 5 or 10 points, you can
mhm,
almost collect 50% of what your original was, or
mm.
even 100% of it, But that's the key. If you haven't had any theta decay though yet, that makes it kind of tough to roll up, you know. Hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is something that you kind of gain. It's you talk about it and you can articulate it, but you really gain this through execution, participating, doing the trade. You kind of learn when to kind of do something like this and when not to. Would you say that's correct, Dr. Meadows?
Yeah, I mean, this was born out of a lot of times putting trades on and just watching them and sort of
Hmm.
see how things would have played out even when you didn't make an adjustment kind of deal,
Hmm.
and just kind
Hmm.
of making mental notes over time. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.